Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chef Karine van Tonder, and I'm honored to welcome you to HTA School of Culinary Art, albeit virtually. As the principal of the full-time programs here at HTA, I have had the honor of meeting most of our parents and sponsors over the past year during our interview process. We are joined today by parents and sponsors from both our 1-year and the 2-year full-time program. Should you have any questions during the proceedings, please feel free to send a quick message through to the comment box or via WhatsApp to Mr. Riley, who will be manning that, and we will also open for a quick Q&A at the end of the session. This conference will be recorded and released to all students, so should you lose connection, please do not worry. My team and I will also make ourselves available next week should you want to give us a call or set up a quick meeting to discuss any of the points covered today. The full-time programs in food preparation and culinary art offered by HTA has been designed to offer high-quality future professionals in the food preparation industry, bringing together all elements of food preparation, service, and management. These qualifications are aimed at students wishing to learn all the fundamental core vocational skills required to excel in their chosen career. Accredited by City and Guilds International, the Quality Council of Trades and Occupations, and the training provider of the South African Chefs Association and World Association of Chefs, HTA School of Culinary Art is committed to providing training that remains at the forefront of culinary trends. In order to successfully achieve that, we have organized this event so that we can discuss with you upfront and without pretense exactly what we as a school expect from not only our students, but from our parents and sponsors as well. Before we, however, continue, I would like to introduce you to the man who has spent the last 25 years building HTA School of Culinary Art into one of the leading chef schools in South Africa. Past president of the South African Chefs Association, respected leader in culinary education, and owner and director of HTA School of Culinary Art, I would like to welcome Mr. Stephen Billingham.
Good morning, parents, sponsors, guardians, family, students. HTA stands for Hospitality Trainers and Associates, and it was started by myself and a group of young, talented subject matter experts from all sectors of the hospitality industry back in 1995. It was formed to address the current and predicted skill shortage in the hospitality industry, and especially professional cookery. Since 1995, its core purpose has been to train, assess, reassess, and certify thousands of cooks, chefs, and caterers in our ever-growing industry, a role that we still play today. HTA, as a group of companies, has 5 culinary educational arms, that being HTA Consultancy Division, a division of the business that was set to train and assess and certify hundreds, if not thousands, of cooks, chefs, and caterers around the country, working in organizations and establishments in sectors such as banking, finance, healthcare, airlines, industrial catering, commercial catering. Our second arm is our highly successful in-service apprentice chef system, a system that has been supporting the development of young chefs already employed in the industry since 1995. And I'm proud to say that the majority of the key players in the hospitality industry use our in-service training program to develop their own cooks, chefs. These establishments range from Protea Marriott through to the Saxon Hotel and Spa. Thirdly, the TIC, the Industry Connection, a foundation bridging program that was set to make quality training affordable to the masses. The fourth division of our business is our e-learning division, which was set to take online platform education up into Africa and the Middle East. The system is currently used by 48 hotels across Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian Oceans. Last but not least, and based on the volumes of information learned and shared over the past 25 years, HTA School of Culinary Art was born. And may I at this stage take this opportunity to thank you for your trust in me and my team to upskill and educate your sons or daughters in the exciting yet challenging field of professional cookery. But more so, to give these young people the tools and confidence to excel in their chosen careers, nationally and internationally. I assure you that your children will be clearly benefited from the strong name and reputation that we as HTA has built within industry globally over the past 25 years. But more so than that, our hundreds of graduates over the years will ensure that upon employment, their HTA training qualification will be the recognized, accepted standard for culinary excellence. To further enhance this statement, my role within the South African Chefs Association further ensures that this school stays firmly ahead of today's requirements in today's industry and its education. As previously mentioned, I thank the parents, the guardians, and the sponsors for selecting and appointing HTA School of Culinary Art to play a critical role in preparing their children to be able to cope and excel in the world of work, to prepare them for a lifestyle and a career that, God willing, will last 40 years or so. Your sons and daughters are about to embark on a challenging yet exciting career choice, which will open endless doors of opportunities in the world of food upon completion and graduation. Over the next year or two, your son or daughter will endeavor to endure situations and circumstances never seen before. Your sons and daughters will need to be fully committed if they intend to be head chefs someday, employed or self-employed. And they will need to be sure about it. They will need to be single-minded in their determination to achieve victory at all costs. If they start throughout this program to doubt the wisdom of their chosen career, they may become a liability to themselves, other students, and the school. These young people must be ready to follow orders and live with the outcome of those orders without complaining or moaning, either to you or to us at the school. For all intents and purposes, a good culinary education, a proper culinary education, is similar to that of joining the military. They must be ready to lead, they must be ready to follow orders, or simply move out of the way. Your sons and daughters need to be prepared to witness every folly of human injustice without it messing up their heads or poisoning their attitudes. They will simply have to endure the contradictions of this career. In the beginning, they may ask themselves, they may ask you, why must I work a late shift? Why must I work at the weekends? Why must my family go on vacation and leave me behind? Why is my hard work, my dedication and commitment so far not been appreciated? Your sons or daughters, our students of 2021, must never make excuses or blame others at this school or in the industry. They must always be on time. In fact, in this industry, if you're on time, you're late. At this school, lazy, sloppy, slow are bad. Enterprising, crafty, and hyperactive are in fact good. During the next year or two, your sons or daughters, our students, will follow in the footsteps of hundreds of previous students that are now captains of industry and holding down serious positions, employed or self-employed, across the globe. We at HTA are proud and honored to have won 20 culinary competitions in the past 7 years. We are proud to have 3 members of our team on the National Culinary Olympic squad, our past graduates. We are proud to be the first school in South Africa to be awarded the prestigious Seal of Approval, the first school in South Africa to be awarded the Centre of Culinary Excellence Award from the World Association of Chef Societies, WACS. But more so, we currently hold a 100% pass rate with the international awarding body City and Guilds, and in last year's exams achieved 10 merits and 15 distinctions. Whilst on campus, these students, our students, these young chefs will be exposed to a variety of catering, sectors and have the opportunity to work at the country's leading shows and events and work in Gauteng's most prestigious hotels and catering companies and restaurants, work with sound, credible culinarians. They will be taught the fundamentals behind the art and science of professional cookery. They will be supported by in-depth and often boring to some theoretical knowledge covering food costing, menu planning, hygiene, sanitation, food and beverage, French, and kitchen management. These young students will endure regular, intense testing, skills challenges, and examinations. And all of these will be supported by what we now know in education as POEs, portfolios of evidence, the new buzzword for collecting evidence of competence in learner-driven education. In closing, once again, I thank you for choosing HTA School of Culinary Art as the stepping stone for your sons or daughters' future. And I ask that you join us and support us as we endeavor to prepare them for a long, fruitful career in professional cookery. I would like to see you at our regular restaurant evenings, our food and wine evenings, so that you can see for yourself, taste for yourself, your children's newfound skills as we prepare them to serve quality, nutritional food. To the very capable team at HTA, I wish you all the best throughout this next academic year. To the parents, to the sponsors, to the guardians, thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Chef. We are very thankful to be part of your team, and we will make sure that we stay true to your legacy of sending into the industry a surplus of young, passionate, well-dressed, well-mannered, but most importantly, well-educated young professionals. Over the past 2 weeks, we have welcomed over 80 new students at HTA. I'm trying real hard to remember all of their names, and if I may say so myself, I'm not doing too bad. But as we conducted the first lessons of this year, I found myself staring at these brand new young chefs, wide-eyed and ready to go. I was just reminded again of the huge responsibility that we as educators have to make sure that the passion and drive that is shown in the beginning remains throughout the training program. Today, as I stand before you, I would like to commit to you that we here at HTA will do anything to protect your investment, but that we will not be able to do so alone. We need your help. Without support, but more so without understanding, our students will not be able to excel in their training. As I know you were told during the interview process, the industry is not necessarily easy. It requires passion, dedication, and personal drive. Our aim at HTA is not only to award our students with a qualification, it is to ensure that our students stand a chance to fully function within an industry. Our mission is to make sure that at the end of the day, they are employable. That is why we work very closely with friends from the industry to guide and assist us. Our students also spend a considerable amount of time in the industry getting first-hand experience of their chosen career path. This, we believe, helps our students not only stand out, but also gives them a source of reference during the remainder of their studies, but assist in employability once they leave. Discipline plays a great role here at HTA, and as we strive to preserve the tradition of the professional chef, HTA students are sought after in our industry because we stand out as a group of professionals who are well-dressed, well-mannered, well-educated, and well-experienced. Today, we are here to make sure that you as parents and sponsors are aware of the rules and regulations of our school, as well as what can be expected during their industry placements so that you can assist and guide and mentor our students confidently and make informed decisions with regards to the remainder of their training program. Please note that all the points that we will be going through today are detailed in the student information guide that students received in their welcome packs. A hard copy will also be issued to the students next week, and we encourage you to go through this in your own time with your student and continuously refer to the guide throughout the rest of the training program. There is also a return slip that needs to be signed by all parties and returned to school as soon as possible. I will be running through a few key points for your attention. Uniform. Once all students have been issued with their HTA uniforms, they will be expected to be dressed in their chef's uniform every day, unless otherwise stipulated. Personal grooming and other uniform-related things were discussed with students in detail. Please note that students will be sent home immediately should they not be dressed accordingly, regardless of how small the discrepancy. Students sent home on a practical day will receive 0, and no opportunity to catch up will be given. Absenteeism. Since we move at a very fast pace and want to afford our students the best learning possibilities, HTA School of Culinary Art strongly discourage absenteeism as a whole. However, any absenteeism should be reported by the parent or sponsor to the principal via phone call or email before the commencement of the day. A doctor's note is required on the first day of return. If a student is absent on a test day, they will not be afforded the opportunity to complete the test if they fail to produce a valid doctor's note. All medical issues that might influence the performance of the student must be discussed with a relevant lecturer, as this will make it easier for us to understand and deal with the situation. Absenteeism on a practical day is not advised and should be avoided at all costs, as we will not be able to conduct the lesson again for just one student. The student will therefore receive no mark for the assessment that could affect the overall average. COVID-19. HTA remains dedicated to protecting students and staff throughout the course of the pandemic. We have put systems in place in and around campus to ensure that our students practice high standards of personal and professional hygiene and responsible distancing. It does, however, remain the responsibility of each individual student to conduct themselves according to the rules and regulations put in place. We would also like to encourage any student who does not feel well or has been in contact with any person infected with the virus to let us know immediately so that we may take the necessary steps to ensure the safety of all parties involved. Accounts. Our accounts department is open between 9 and 12:30 every day to discuss concerns and queries directly. Alternatively, you are welcome to contact us via email or phone call should you have any queries or concerns. Statements are sent out via email on a monthly basis. Kindly contact us should you not receive any communication in this regard. Kindly make sure that you use the individual student number as that was issued to your student in their welcome pack as reference when making payment. Failure to use the correct reference number may lead to misallocation of funds. It is advised that you keep proof of payment of all transactions for your own reference. Schedules. Schedules are issued to students before the commencement of each term. Please note that these schedules are subject to change. Students will, however, be warned of any changes in advance. Theoretical days are generally scheduled between 9 and 3, but practical lessons may vary as we present these lessons during the day as well as evenings. Please understand that the length of practical lessons will depend on the component being completed on the day, as well as the pace set by the students. Students will also be scheduled for scullery duty on days that they are not cooking. Marks will be allocated to this duty, and students who fail to report for scullery duty will receive 0. Students will sometimes have off days or home-based study days throughout the term. These days are scheduled for students to catch up on any study time or complete home-based assignments. We encourage students to make use of these days as it will make a big difference in the end. Holiday leave during the term will not be allowed. Term dates have been sent to all parties involved and we will not be able to accommodate special requests. Outings, functions, and events. Students will be required to work compulsory functions at HTA as part of their practical training. We also take part in most of the big culinary shows such as Hostex, Fire and Feast, and the Appetite Fest. These functions might have come up. These functions might come up at last minute and schedules will be adjusted to accommodate the events. Although COVID has reduced these events drastically, we will make ourselves available once they are up and running again. An outing will be arranged once a term. These outings are part of broadening our students' culinary reference, and they are compulsory. The cost of each outing will be confirmed in the beginning of the term. Transport is not always arranged. Results. The pass rate for all assessments for both programs is 60%. Students will need to achieve an average of 60% for each individual subject throughout the training period in order to achieve their qualification. Students write tests every week. They will complete at least 4 class tests for every subject every term. Students' theoretical achievements is fully based on the constructive efforts of the students make during their studies. Please understand that it is quite common for students not to meet the minimum requirement of 60% for the first term during their practical assessment. In practical lessons, 60% is deemed as good enough to sell and represents a product that is ready to be prepared in industry at industry standards. Or as I tell the students, good enough to sell to your mother or your boss. Their practical marks will most definitely improve as they grow more confident throughout their training in the kitchen. Students are, however, allowed to ask the lecturers for assistance prior to sending their dishes out for assessment. It is strongly advised that they make use of such opportunities to ensure that their mark is as good as they can get it. Results will be made available via our online communication system, EdAdmin. Parents and sponsors will receive an invitation from myself to log into the student portal next week. Please ensure that we have the correct mailing address in order for the link to go through. If you have not been receiving communication from me, sea@htatrain.co.za, I do not have the correct address. EdAdmin will be updated daily. It remains the responsibility of both student and sponsor to continuously refer to the result log during the training. Over and above weekly results and term reports, EdAdmin will also show you details regarding absenteeism, rewards and merits, demerits, extramural activities, industry placements, as well as interactive chats and instant notifications. Extra lessons are available for those students struggling to keep up with the fast pace of our curriculum. It is the responsibility of the student to arrange these lessons with the appropriate lecturer, as we cannot always distinguish between the lack of understanding and the lack of interest. Should a student fail to meet the minimum requirements of a test or exam, they will have an opportunity per test or exam to better their results. These tests are scheduled at the end of each term, and it remains the responsibility of the student to attend these sessions in order for them to better their results. Supplementary exam dates will appear on the term report, which will be issued about 2 weeks after the completion of the final exam. Please note that all supplementary assessments may come at an additional cost. HTA's virtual classroom. HTA will be making use of a blended learning approach where we will focus on both on-site as well as online learning. Although the core skills and applications will be attended to on campus, we will be making use of Google Classroom to interact and engage with our students throughout their training programs. It is therefore imperative that all students have access to an electronic device. We will be posting daily questions on theoretical work, practical photos and videos of work conducted, exercises, and assignments. An invitation to parents and guardians will be sent through Google next week. By accepting the invitation, you will be able to monitor activities on our virtual classroom for your student. It is not compulsory for you to accept. Please note that the daily questions are not for marks and purely to assist with revision for the day's work. Cell phones and other communication devices, including smartwatches. Students are not permitted to use any communication devices during lecturing hours. Smartwatches will need to be removed for all class activities. We therefore advise parents and sponsors to contact the office should there be an emergency, as phones will be confiscated from the student without question and will only be returned to them at the end of the day. There is also a penalty fee involved should a cell phone ring in class. Drinking, drugs, and any other inebriating or intoxicating substances. Students are forewarned that HTA will not tolerate any transgressions or any tarnishing of HTA's good standing due to the abuse or misuse of alcohol or any other intoxicating substance. To further enforce the policy, HTA School of Culinary Art reserves the right to perform random drug tests on all its students and staff on a monthly basis to continuously ensure the safety of our current and future students, staff, and the long-standing reputation of HTA School of Culinary Art. Parents are not informed when these tests will be conducted. Once a student has been tested, parents and sponsors will be notified of the result. Disciplinary action will be severe and will be uncompromisingly enforced, which will lead to immediate suspension, final written warnings, formal external counseling at own cost, and/or permanent expulsion. The HTA reward system. In order to help students make positive choices and create a positive environment, HTA School of Culinary Art has implemented a merit and demerit system to address behaviors and continue to enhance standards. The system will provide rewards for positive behavior and consequences for negative behavior. Social media monitoring and control. The student is reminded that social networks such as Facebook, Twitter, etc., are social utilities that connect people with friends and others who work, study, and live around them. Anything that is said regarding the industry partner or HTA and the establishment's view that the student has acted in unfit in any way in course of carrying his duties, misconduct themselves in private time, where the student brings the industry partner or HTA's name into disrepute, will be addressed. Special requirements for religious and/or dietary needs. All students are required to attend all practical lessons. HTA is respectful, considerate, and aware of special requirements pertaining to either religious or dietary needs. However, we require that all students participate, prepare, and cook all food items. It is not required of the student to consume anything that they are not comfortable with, nor will HTA enforce this. HTA students are permitted to bring their own ingredients into a practical lesson. However, this will be at their own cost and time. If ingredients are to be brought in by the student, it needs to be discussed with one of the lecturers prior to the day of the practical. Within reason, please take into consideration ample notice for any leave days required for religious purposes. Kindly discuss this detail with either the principal or the placement facilitator. HTA cannot guarantee placement that will fully accommodate special needs and requirements. Communication. HTA prides itself in having an open line of communication with both students and their parents and sponsors. In order to make communication easy, we supply not only the HTA office contact details, but also the personal contact details of our lecturers. The reason for this is to ensure that our lecturers are able to freely communicate with students when not in a typical school environment. Students may contact lecturers via SMS or WhatsApp to inform them of being late only. Please note that these messages are to be professional and to the point. Lecturers will be available on their cell phones during working hours, keeping in mind that they might be busy with lectures and therefore will not always be able to answer the phone. Should a student be on industry placement and experience an emergency that is outside office hours, they may contact their lecturer or the industry placement the placement industry facilitator. Please assess the validity of the situation or concern and time of day carefully before making the call. Please ensure that we always have the correct updated contact details of all students as well as parents and sponsors. We put all relevant contact details on our website. I've also emailed it out to everybody so that you make sure that you know who to contact. Student industry placements. In order to receive the practical component qualification, it is necessary to properly prepare students for the hospitality industry. They will therefore undergo an industry placement phase of 10 weeks for the 1-year program and 40 weeks for the 2-year program at an HTA registered and approved workplace training provider. In order to assist with placement within the industry, a list of all industry placement partners will be shown and discussed with our students through Mr. Riley. All industry placements are handled by Mr. Riley, the industry placement facilitator. The principal and facilitator will decide on the best suited placement for each student based on the personality, ability, and previous experience. Please note that transport or lack thereof will not be considered when making the final placement decision. Students who have not attended all of the practical placement sessions will be required to catch up the lost days or that full term to qualify for the accreditation for that particular component. Additional charges may therefore apply. Should a student be absent from placement for any reason, it remains the responsibility to arrange with his or her lecturers or the head chef to catch up or on any practical days lost, even if such absenteeism was due to any form of suspension. An original doctor's note from a doctor registered with the HBCSA must be submitted for sick days on the day returning from leave. A doctor's note will be required even if it is for a single day absent. This needs to be inserted into the workplace logbook for administrative purposes. No routine doctor, dentist, or other appointments may be made during practical training shifts. Scheduled absenteeism might be brought to the industry placement facilitator's attention as soon as possible. It is the student's own responsibility to arrange transport back and forth from the placement, regardless of the shift that you might be required to work. Any additional costs for parking remain the responsibility of the student. Students will work shifts as specified and required by the industry partner. Shifts are subject to change and students would... My apologies. Shifts are subject to change and students should prepare to work long hours, overtime, as well as accommodate changing shifts or short times. Shift times and allocations are entirely up to the industry partner. If for some or other reason you require a specific time off, you can approach the head chef to request specific times. The more notice you can give, the more chance you will have of getting your requested times. All leave applications must be submitted to HTA in writing and should only be deemed as approved once feedback has been received back. The student will adhere to the rules and regulations of the establishment as well as that of HTA. This includes HTA's dress code. Students will be suspended with immediate effect should the industry partner ask a student to leave their establishment due to lack of performance, ill discipline, or misconduct. Students will only be dismissed from practical industry placement once the specified period has been completed and both the HTA lecturer and establishment head chef or executive chef has verified the hours and has signed off the logbook. HTA reserves the right to dismiss or extract students if any discrepancies are found in the logbook. No student is allowed to dismiss him or herself from any establishment without written confirmation from HTA. Absconding from placement is considered a serious offense and will result in immediate disciplinary action. Regardless of the reason, the disciplinary measures may include the cancellation of any or all practical hours already completed at that venue and the repeating of the entire 10-week placement. Each incident concern will be considered on its own merit and recorded in the student's administrative records. Students are therefore encouraged to contact HTA as soon as possible if a problem arises in order for us to evaluate the situation before formal action is required. Should a student feel unsafe, victimized, or abused in any way or form, we encourage them to contact us immediately in order for us to take the necessary action. As a tertiary institution, we encourage that all actions and responsibility is to be taken by the students themselves and for students to communicate with us directly in order for us to avoid any form of miscommunication and or misunderstanding. No direct contact with the establishment shall be entered into by the parent or sponsor, with the exception of communicating absenteeism in an emergency. All concerns or queries with regards to placement are to be conveyed through HTA. Regular on-site monitoring will be conducted by HTA. Students are required to complete their practical placement logbooks as well as a work-based assignment during their placement period. The industry partner is required to sign the logbook on a weekly basis. Only the executive chef or sous chef is permitted to sign. Students are required to report to HTA every 2 weeks to have their logbooks validated by their HTA representative. It is imperative that logbooks are signed off by both HTA and the industry partner within the stipulated time. Days not validated will be forfeited, and students will have to repeat all outstanding dates in order for the placement to be deemed complete. Extra charges for repetition of placement might be needed. Failure to submit the logbook during the prescribed time period will lead to the hours not being accredited. It is important that you are aware that the fact that HTA School of Culinary Art does not receive any form of remuneration for the work done by students at the workplace. HTA strongly discourages that students enter into personal relationships with staff members whilst in industry placement. Disciplinary procedures for practical training are stricter than those for the academic component. This is due to the fact that HTA School of Culinary Art is contractually obligated to the organization that have agreed to take our students and assist in training. And as such, students are required to adhere to all of the organization's rules at all times. To bring home what we have just discussed with regards to the industry, I would like to ask one of our good friends and mentors, Chef Hector, to spend a few minutes with you discussing what our industry looks for whilst our students are in industry placements. Thank you, Chef.
Good morning, parents, students, sponsors, and guardians. As Chef has said, my name is Zwandile Hector Mnyaiza. I'm just here to tell you a bit about myself and just basically what is there to expect in the industry. Firstly, I would just like to say congratulations for choosing this industry. It's a really, really rewarding industry with a lot and lots of fun. So just a short brief about myself. Started training in 2005 in Durban. I was then employed as a chef de partie. I then entered a Young Chef of the Year competition, which I really, really will tell the young guys to enter as many competitions as you can because you do learn a lot. I then moved up to Mhlanga to open up a restaurant called Three Chefs Bistro, which was a restaurant called Three Award-winning Chefs. In 2010, I then moved up to Plettenberg Bay to run the Plettenberg Bay Hotel and Spa. In 2011, I didn't stay long there. I moved to Durban, back to Durban to work in Sibaya Casino as the executive sous chef at the Aqua restaurant. In 2015, I moved up to Johannesburg at the Carousel Casino up by Pretoria. I was then taken by Sun International to go and run Windmill Casino in Bloemfontein. And then I was brought back to run the Mazda Hotel in Sandton from 2018. So basically, guys, as I've said, and everyone that came before me has mentioned that it's hard work. It's got a lot of rewards, and just to be focused and to be really passionate about what you're doing. And I must say, you guys are really lucky to come to an establishment like HTA. You know, I did a walkabout the other day I was here, and the facilities are amazing. I wish we had this type of facilities when we were coming up at school. In terms of industry placement, it's very important for the students to attend all the shifts that have been put down by the chefs or the sous chefs. And what I've noticed with a lot of students is that they don't come with notebooks. I believe in carrying notebooks and writing all recipes that you are learning from all the different chefs, because you will use that for your practicals and on a later stage. And basically, you're very lucky to go into industry, because whatever is done in industry is also going to be asked into your exams and any academic work that you do. So it's very important to be vigilant and open your eyes and ears and learn as much as you can in industry. And when you do go into industry, I ask for the young chefs to look after their properties, look after your knives, look after your aprons, look after your uniforms, because those do go missing very quickly. So I suggest you buy a toolbox, have a lock. If you are not using a specific knife, you lock. You do not lend a knife to anyone as a chef. You do not allow anyone to sharpen your knives, because you as a chef, you know how you work with your knives. So that's very important to make sure that your property is kept safe at all the time. Industry is really tough. You might be asked to come in the morning, then later in the afternoon, the chef might say, someone hasn't come into work, can you cover another shift? I suggest you say, yes, chef, phone mom or dad and say, listen, I've been asked to pull in another shift. In terms of opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities in the industry. I suggest that when students are finished, go and look at going overseas, learning as much as you can. But also in the country, you can stay and work in some of the top hotels in the country. And I've been asked about, can I go and open a business as soon as I finish school, chef? I don't think it's the right thing to do as soon as you finish school. There's still a lot to learn in the industry about just the day-to-day running of a business. And that's all you learn in an establishment as you move up the ladder into sous chef, executive chef. You get to learn on how to run a kitchen. So I think you need to just give it a few years, learn as much as you can, travel a bit, as I've mentioned, also enter a lot of competitions. And also when you are placed in industry, it's very important to be neat, uniforms, clean, ironed, haircut, shaven, no beards for chefs, your hair knits. Yeah, we do wear black, but preferably all chefs must be in chef whites. And just another word of advice when it comes to social media. Stay away from commenting on things that will get you into trouble. Your social media must be kept clean at all times, because you now have joined an international company, which is well known, and anyone who can pick up that, oh, this is a student from a certain school. So I'm saying to you, post your food that you are cooking at home or at class, but just make sure that your social media is kept clean. And guys, just in closing, I just want to wish you guys all the best for the next year or 2 years. Learn as much as you can, respect those that you meet in industry, and watch a lot of TV, cooking shows, watch a lot of, read a lot of books, buy cookbooks, and just practice whatever you can. You know, hopefully I'll see you guys, some of you guys, when you do your final practicals, and I wish you guys all the best. I'm Chef Hector. On Facebook, I'm Hector. If any parents want to talk to me about industry or anything else, I'm more than happy to chat to you guys and chat to the students. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend further.
Thank you, Chef Hector. I always feel it's important for us to ask the industry for their opinion. As a school, we strive to be the best, and I believe that we're blessed to be a small business. But that also means that we can make it our business to know your business. Ladies and gentlemen, in order for us to make sure that the next 2 years of training is a success, we are looking at a three-way investment. One, from our students who will be dedicating the next year or two to their careers that should last the next 45 odd years. One, from our parents and sponsors who not only provide financially, but who will keep our students emotionally grounded, not only throughout their time with us, but also throughout the remainder of the young chef's career. And then finally, from us as a training provider, we would not have accepted a student to one of our programs if we did not believe that they would not be able to complete the program successfully. Your success is ultimately our success. Always feel free to contact us should you have a concern or query. We are blessed to be a small business, as I had said, and we pride ourselves in providing not only quality and professional service, but one that is professional too. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that we have hit you hard with fact and figure today, and I trust that you understand that it is not our intention to scare you. Instead, I would like to think that you will appreciate our honesty and that you will assist us in making your students' career goal come through. If we know what to expect, we will also know how to react. All I am asking for, ladies and gentlemen, as parents and sponsors, is that you help us protect your student. But the word protection does not necessarily mean to shelter. Our students today are used to passing a grading system that does not necessarily install the highest of standards. They are used to getting what they want when they want. They know their rights and they are not afraid to stand up for them. They live in an age of smartphones, fast food, and instant gratification. I would like to say to you today that we will do everything in our power to make sure that these young, sensitive souls are guided and mentored. It is, however, a job that we cannot do alone. When or if your student comes home and you spot them acting out of character, call us. If you are not sure what is going on, be it at school or in industry, call us. I would like you to come and have a quick chat with us if you need us. Call, WhatsApp, SMS, email, so that we can help you. But I would also like to ask of you today to trust us. HTA has been sending students into the industry for over 20 years. We know what is going on. We know what is right and what is wrong. And as we are all professional chefs, we also know what these students are currently going through, what they will be going through, having been there ourselves. Today, I humbly stand before you and I ask that we work together. We need to work together to teach these young, influential minds what it is like to achieve something through hard work and dedication, to teach them perseverance and patience, to help them understand that anything worth pursuing, for instance, job fulfillment, takes time. We need to help build their confidence, even if it means breaking it down a little bit at first. We need to teach them the skills of cooperation. We need to show them how to cope under stress. We need to teach them the joy of fulfillment, of achieving something that in the beginning may have felt like an impossible task. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I are in this for the long run. We would not be here today if you did not commit. We know that we want our students to succeed. We all need to know now is to convince them, all we need to do now is to convince them that they too can succeed. To fail at HTA is not an option. To give up, to walk away isn't either. I truly hope that you will hear my heart when I say that as tough as I have now made this all sound, the hospitality industry is one of the most rewarding and invigorating industries to work in. If we can get our students through the next year or two, they will excel in every aspect of their lives. They will be strong, confident, and independent. We are all here because we love and care for them. I would like to invite you to join me and the staff of HTA for what might not always be a walk in the park, but a journey that will have us think back years from now. Wow, what a ride. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to listen to what we have to say. I trust that after today, you will believe and understand that we here at HTA carry each student's best interest at heart, and we can only make a true success of this process with the support and understanding of our parents and sponsors. I'd like to open the floor for any questions that may have come through during the proceedings. Mr. Riley, anything? Right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a call or send an email. The email that I had sent earlier would be the one that I would communicate with you directly. Mr. Riley has indicated that there are a few questions. If I can just ask you, Mr. Riley.
The first is, what is the culinary drama? What is the pop-up restaurants? And what can we expect to be cooking and do beyond the salary duties of those particular functions?
Those are very good questions. So a culinary indaba, as you may have noticed on the schedule, is what we would say, instead of an outing is an inning, we would have an in-house conference for our students where we bring in guest lecturers, for instance, like Chef Hector, guest products. We would talk about things that are not necessarily on the curriculum itself. Last year, we did craft gin training. We also made our own biltong, for instance. So it is like an outing, but instead of traveling to three or four different venues, we host it here at HTA where students can then easily attend. So that's the culinary Indaba. With regards to pop-up restaurant, that's also a very good one. At the end of every term, we create a simulated restaurant environment where we invite our parents and sponsors, guests and friends to come and join us for a night of fine dining. So students are then allocated, just to answer the second part of the question, into either chefs, scholars, or waiters, and then they would then prepare the meal, serve the meal, and ultimately cater for the entire event. We take turns as to who does what so that everybody has a fair exposure over the 2-year period. The more interest there are, the more events there might ultimately be.
Okay, here's a question with regards to Open Study Day. The questions will be at home school. If it's at home, electricity available to assist online or communication.
Thank you. So an open study day, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is a home-based study day. So students need not come to school. We do, however, have facilities for students to come. Should they, for instance, not have access to Wi-Fi, they're welcome to come to campus and sit at our LAPA or any one of our student areas to then do a little bit of study work. Our lecturing team will be available via Google Classroom. You'll also see that, for instance, some study days where we say specific Google Classroom revision will be conducted, we will actually be interacting and sending questions and revision through in preparation for exams. But the students don't necessarily have to travel all the way home, from home to school. They can do so in the comfort of their own bedrooms.
Then just a general query with regards to what's the expected times in industry.
Right. So expected times when you are working in industry is a very tough call because it does depend on the industry placement. We have restaurants, catering companies. You have retail, for instance, or function venues, and the time or the shift times will vary depending on what the actual industry partner, for instance, requires. But a general shift in industry varies between 8 and 10 hours depending on the busyness of the day. Any staff member, just like in any business, will be, if I could say, open to a 15-minute break here or there, and then a lunch break as well. Lunch breaks in our industry, however, do not necessarily fall in the same lunch break hours as in normal industries because we would be the ones cooking the meals for the guests when they are on their lunch break. So you can work into a, like I say, 8 to 10 hour shift, and then a shift time, early shift could start as early as 6 o'clock, finishes around 2. An afternoon shift could start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and finish around 11 o'clock at night. And then you do also get the odd split shift. A split shift is when you start in the morning, you work for 4 hours, you have a break, and then you work 4 hours later again in the day. But like I say, the industry will have to dictate that to you as and how they go. Mr. Riley also will make himself available to discuss this. And we do also have an industry placement workshop before our students go into the industry, where most of the concerns with regards to industries and the uncertainty around what to expect will be addressed.
Then there's a question with regards to the open day classes. Will they be saved from the student portal in case of the time of classes students are expecting a network partners? I suppose that's your network.
As with today's conference that is online, any of the conferences that we do post on Google Classroom will be recorded and posted at the end of the day. It does not necessarily give the student the excuse to miss the class. We encourage that you do interact as much as you can. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Most of the training will happen at HTA. When we send you home on a Google Classroom day, it'll most probably be based on work that you have already conducted. But just to answer again, yes, we do record everything we post, and therefore you can access it at a later stage.
The next question I do think everyone would need an answer to with regards to in the industry lunches, were the industry suppliers or were the students do supply ones online?
You're welcome to Mr. Riley. Do you want to come up and introduce yourself quickly and then answer that question for us? So I'm not too sure if you heard, the question was with regards to lunches at industry partners, will they be provided or not? Mr. Riley, as he is our placement facilitator, I believe it's best that he gives you the information. Thank you, Mr. Riley.
Very good question. In general, to sum it up, most of our industry partners do supply a lunch or a meal for the students. There are some industry partners where you would need to provide them. But as I said, that is at a very much of a minimum. And as a general rule of thumb, you can expect to get a lunch whilst in the industry. With regards to lunch time, you won't be expecting to get a full 1 hour lunch. The industry is obviously, with regards to hospitality, it's as demand. So you get like 20 minutes and a quick 10-minute break here and a 10-minute break there. There will be ample opportunity to take a nice lunch and a light little break. And there will be obviously canteens in most of the hotel properties and restaurants. There will be a staff meal either before your shift or after your shift that you have completed.
Thank you, Mr. Riley, and I'm sure that it's good to have a face to the name now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not too sure if there are any other questions that are popping up, but I think we are going to wrap up today's parent orientation. Any other questions that you feel you want to ask, or if maybe there wasn't something that you wanted to discuss in public, you're welcome to either contact Mr. Riley. I believe he put his work line on his number on the comment box, which you would be able to contact at any time. Alternatively, if you'd like to make an appointment to come and chat to me sometime next week, I'd be more than happy to visit with you. Thank you very much to our parents and sponsors who joined, to our students who joined. We're very happy to have you here. We're excited to take this road with you. And although the journey might not always take you where you think it might, the end is the ideal. So we're going to work with you, and hopefully we will turn an application into a graduation very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. To Chef Billingham, to Chef Hector, Mr. Riley, and our technical team, I'd also like to say thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.